Hi guys, thanks for watching my channel. Today I would like to continue with the Neptune series and talk about Neptune in the 8th house. So what is Neptune? Neptune is a totality of consciousness, and it is also the decentralization of the ego. It is where we can self-observe outside of the ego structure. This is something where Jeffrey Wolf Green, the astrologer, he referred to this as the ocean and the wave, where our soul during our incarnations is the ocean, and the wave above the ocean is similar to our egos. It's what the soul created for us to use during our lifetimes, so that the wave would serve as our evolutionary impulse to go out in the world and to go through the cycle of struggle. And so in order to evolve and to come back to the soul at the end of our lives, it talks about the wave coming back into the ocean, back to the soul. And so with Neptune, this is where we can begin to recognize our ego. Although it is one with the ocean, the soul, it is also separate. It is not exactly who we are. It is just part of what the soul has created so that we can function here on earth. In that sense, consciousness is also, it's water. Neptune is water, and it has no form. It takes the form of the container that it is held within. And our perceptions of reality are conditioned through the form that our consciousness is in. Neptune is the ultimate reality. It is what the impulse inside us to connect, to unify with our inner divine and with the source that created us. On a more traditional astrological interpretation, Neptune is where we may lack boundaries, where we are extremely devoted, where we love unconditionally, where we can fall into delusion, where we may lie or be lied to, where we can, when we are operating in the shadow form of this, when we are not connecting with that inner divine or with our source, whatever that means to each and every one of us, we can become disillusioned. We can then escape through artificial means of transcendence, through drugs, through relationships, through external things that we feel that are going to satisfy that inner hunger that Neptune often produces. It's kind of like a longing that can never really be filled, but it can be filled. It can be filled with a divine connection and unification. So Neptune is also, it's where we may lack direction in our life, where we may become confused. It's where we are extremely compassionate and empathetic, and where we show a lot of mercy for ourselves and as others. It's also where we can be more passive. So let's talk about the 8th house. What is the 8th house? The 8th house is about our emotional security. It's about how we join with others through intimacy and merging, specifically with our resources as well as our emotions. It can be where we can experience occult experiences as well as mediumship. It is where we can see our inheritance, and this isn't just inheritance that is financial. This could be psychological inheritance, this could be spiritual inheritance, physical inheritance, as well as medical inheritance from our family or our ancestors, not just from this life but from previous lives. It is where we transform, where we regenerate, where we are reborn. It's where we go through a sort of metamorphosizing process, like a caterpillar into a butterfly. Scorpio, 8th house, and Pluto is kind of like the guardian of our soul, of the sovereignty of our soul, as we kind of go through these refining processes that can be sometimes very painful. It's where we can be thrown to our knees in order to surrender and to basically reach out or reconnect through our Neptunian Pisces archetype, to connect with that inner divine. It can kind of put us in that mode, and through this regeneration, through these trials, through these setbacks in our lives, or disillusionment or disappointments, the 8th house transforms us. It's where we can heal our deeper wounds through these processes of kind of hitting rock bottom. So the 8th house is not the easiest place. I know you guys already know this because you watch astrology videos, but I kind of wanted to go into it a little deeper. I have been studying more of evolutionary astrology these past 6 months, and it really just speaks to me on a deeper level. So I wanted to kind of dig down deeper more into the 8th house. And it really does have a lot to do with our inner fears, our paranoias, fear of abandonment, rejection, of shame, these things that are kind of so painful that we don't really want to look at. So the 8th house, whatever is in the 8th house, it needs to be looked at, and it's something that only we can do for ourselves. We need to look at ourselves in a very real, raw way in order to push through this process of regeneration and healing and purification of these wounds, so that they can heal properly, and so that we can emerge reborn on the other side, more whole and closer to our divine source. With Neptune in the 8th house, this is a water planet in a water house. So we are talking extreme sensitivity here, where it's like there's almost within the caverns of our soul, the 8th house, there's kind of like an open nerve, this part of us that is the most vulnerable, because Neptune can make us extremely vulnerable in these deeper areas of our root. It's really like the root of our roots. This is where we can really experience deep emotions as well as deep soul connections. We can also experience deep healing. This is where we're very empathetic and extremely intuitive. This is where your senses may just be exposed to receiving all kinds of energies that you might not even be aware of, but they affect you deeply, and they could affect your life on a major level. And this could be conscious, or it could also be unconscious. You could be someone who really just has naked intimacy with others, where there's just really no boundaries between you and another person. You could have an attraction towards others that just kind of this magnetic, karmic, mysterious attractions to others that kind of come and go, that are just unexplainable. Maybe it's not even the way they look. It's just a feeling. It's just a feeling that you have, that you just feel so strongly. It's just through this intuitive channel that you have. You just know when you meet someone and there is something karmic going on there. Neptune 8th house, you have extremely strong feelers that never turn off. You are just like a sponge soaking up your environment, and especially those in your close, intimate circle, because the 8th house is very much about that close, intimate circle that we share with others. You have the ability to really connect with others on a spiritual level, where you may have within your intimate circle in your life, these may be people that you have a soul connection to, that you've had many lives with, and this is just a continued process, something that you both agreed to before you got here, that okay, we're going to do this again together, where these are kind of predestined relationships that are part of your soul family. And even if they're not romantic relationships, they could be friendships that are extremely deep, kindred spirit type friendships. Or as Anne of Avonlea says, the bosom friend. The bosom friend, that's my favorite. The people in your lives, there is a deep, deep bond and connection. Something about that too is with the 8th house and Neptune, through those connections, there always needs to be a 100% honesty. And even if it threatens to disturb the peace within the relationship, this is where there's really a naked honesty, just naked intimacy. And intimacy is not about, it's not about these this external attractions, you know, it's just this deeper understanding, and also really knowing that person, warts and all, seeing the good, the bad, and just knowing and accepting all of that. So this is where you could really have these kind of relationships throughout your life. And you're also able to help your friends through traumas, through loss, or through grief. This could be a gift of yours with Neptune in the 8th house, because you're really not as scared of these subjects. You really have a deep understanding and knowing of the cycles of life, that we are spiritual beings here having a human experience. With inheritance, with Neptune in this placement, it could mean that there could be some kind of spiritual inheritance that you inherited from your soul family. And especially if you see with your 8th house Neptune, if there's connections with the 4th house, then there could be some kind of ancestral work that you're doing within this lifetime. You could also, it could be like spiritual gifts. Maybe it could be like mediumship or some kind of occult knowing or understanding or practice that has come down through generations that you have now inherited to continue on within this lifetime. You could have also inherited things that aren't so amazing on the shadow side, or things that need to be wrapped up on the ancestral level. This could be issues surrounding escapism, addictions, or victimization. And these will need to be transformed and rebirthed in a higher expression throughout this lifetime as well. And that's something that you, if it's in your chart, and you know, if you see afflictions or anything like that, that's something that you agreed to, that you were like, I wanna come, and I wanna fix this. I wanna transform this, not just for myself, but for that ancestral inheritance. You wanna close that loop. This is it. This is where we're gonna end it right here. As far as taxes, loans, debt, and others' money, you definitely wanna be mindful of your responsibilities in regards to taking out loans, paying taxes, and handling your debt properly with this placement. There could be lack of boundaries when it comes to finances. If you go into a partnership with someone or a marriage with someone, this is where you may want to take extra steps to define, because with Neptune here, you can be almost over generous. Shared money with others in general should just be defined and discussed, and that should be very clear. And you may be someone who is gifted in soothing others during their exit from this world back into the spirit world. You may be someone who is someone that would be very good in some type of hospice situation, where taking care of the elderly, comforting the elderly, giving them the courage to just have peace about the fact that it's time for them. And you could be someone where death or dying in some way, even if it's just maybe an interest in death or dying, or the process of that, maybe you're someone who is very interested or even soothed by watching near-death experiences or videos in regards to supernatural, metaphysical transcendence out of this life into another form, into another realm. This could be something where throughout your life, death or the other side could be a guide or teacher for you within this life. With Neptune in the 8th house, I would like to wrap this up by saying that Neptune is our totality of consciousness. It's our spiritual consciousness. And so having that within the 8th house of regeneration and transformation, it's like you are on the fast track to a spiritual transformation, the fast track to spiritual awakenings. You are ready to take the next level within your life spiritually. And there is a purification process that is going on deep down within your soul. With the 8th house, it's like the death of your disillusionment into the false, needing external security, looking for, idealization of others, of, drugs, of this false escapism. It's like the death of that. Through the 8th house, the refining of your soul, of the purification of your soul and that sovereignty, and really stepping into unification with a divine source and coming back home. That is my interpretation of Neptune in the 8th house. I hope this was helpful. Please feel free to leave comments and let me know what your guys' experiences are and your thoughts. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you guys.